candidate will be the presidential candidate who secured the highest number of lawful votes. That will be the candidate that will make it to the runoff election. The second candidate will be the one who, amongst the remaining candidates, who has majority of votes in the highest number of states. These are the two candidates that will make it to the ballot at the runoff election. So first, the candidate who secures the highest number of votes, and second, the candidate, who has majority of votes in the highest number of states. So where there is more than one candidate who has the majority of votes in the highest number of states, this is what the law says INEC will do. INEC will consider amongst, these candidates who has the highest number of votes in the election. So they look at the total number of votes that each of the candidates secured, and the one with the highest total number of votes will become the second candidate on the ballot for a runoff elections. Now, victory in a runoff election is by simple majority, unlike the first round that requires the fulfillment of those two conditions of the highest number of votes and then 25% of votes in at least 2/3 of the state and the FCT. And what this means is 25% of votes in 24 states and the FCT. Remember, only INEC has the power to declare results. No other institution or individual is saddled with that responsibility. We urge you to be patient, wait as INEC is collating and declaring the results. Please refrain from peddling or spreading all forms of fake news. The only institution responsible for declaring official results is INEC, and we urge you as Nigerians to be patient and understanding and wait until INEC declares the final results for the election. Thank you for watching. I am Samson Itodo. Bye for now.
To have their freedoms protected. And this is exactly what the chairman of the INEC hopefully is going to do. And anyone who has any issue should take it up in the law courts.
How about the international observers? Are you concerned about what they've been saying about the process so far? And what that means for credibility of whoever wins this election? Because
they've been unequivocal in saying that INEC has failed Nigerians.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. The international observers that I've come across have actually spoken about how no, but it's true. How peaceful. I met some as I was coming up here.
Largely peaceful, they say.
Largely peaceful and fair. And for me,
they didn't say fair.
It was
fair. Said it was largely peaceful.
Listen, Mr. Charles, the fact that we had a process whereby the whole map, the political map of Nigeria has changed. I think we need nothing more than to look at that to understand that what we saw was democracy at play. That's exactly what it was.
Well, how can it be democracy at play when the position of many, many Nigerians, based on the assurances given to them by INEC, is no beavers, no results? INEC made a promise, and IREV. The promise INEC made repeatedly amid a blaze of publicity is that they're going to do it in a particular way.
Yes.
And it never happened.
Well, it never happened, or it's happening. It's something that has to be played out in the tribunal. That is just what it is. At this point, I don't understand what the opposition wants. What the opposition wants is for us to truncate completely this
No,
system.
what the
to redo the election from the beginning?
The opposition
is that
are
what they want? Our concern is the fact that there's rhetoric, or there were whispers that there's intention to put up an interim national government. This is my own.
That's not.
Well, that's my.
That's
fear.
not everybody
Okay,
talking
but,
about.
But it is, Mr. Charles. It actually is.
Former head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, who is also the head of the Peace Committee, also yesterday released a press statement, and in paragraph 7 of that statement, he did say INEC should take all the time it requires to ensure that it delivers results that inspire the confidence of the people and meet time-tested international standards. His words. So my question is, if opposition is saying, INEC, pause this collation process, investigate the claim, because initially that's what they said, and then there was no response, and they said, you know what, cancel the entire result. My question is, would the APC as a party be even willing for INEC to pause the process and investigate all of this anomaly so that we have a more credible election, and the person who emerges the president of Nigeria has some sort of credibility that he has the vote of the people of Nigeria?
Yes, if the chairman of INEC deems that it is correct based on the complaints that some of these parties have, then we don't have a problem with it. Because we are confident that at the end of the day, unfortunately for the main opposition party, PDP, because Labour Party took away its base and split its votes, we are confident that no matter what happens, APC is going to still be victorious, and Ashwaju will be president at the end of the day.
On that note,
I
want to thank you very much indeed. Always a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. Thank you, Ms. Adesu.
Is Deputy Spokesperson of the Tinubu APC Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Well, you're watching special coverage of Nigeria's 2023 presidential and legislative elections here on the Rise News. It's time for a short break. We'll be back with more. Stay with us.
What is really happening in Akamata market? It seems these people don't want the election to hold.
I hope you're broadcasting to the world must hear.
No. Is that how you people share sensitive news like that without verifying it? If I may ask, which news platform published the news?
Jojo sent it though.
Jojo? Is that not the same Jojo that posted a fake election result the last time that almost caused a riot?
You know they forget something.
No. In this election season and after, one must be very careful. Or do you want to set the country on fire?
Haba.
Fake news is a threat to a free and fair election and to peace and security. So, before you share any news, check to be sure the source is credible. Check if there are supporting credible sources. Read beyond the headlines. Check the author. Check the date. Check your biases. Ask an expert or send to a fact-checking organization for confirmation. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government.
Every day, life presents hopes, dreams, and challenges. Challenges that can become successes with a little help. Because a little help can empower you to go from despair
23 verdict. It's our continuing coverage of the general elections. The collation of results will resume in about an hour. That's what the chairman of INEC did say when they went on break an hour ago. But yes, in the eye of the storm, in the manner of speaking. But here is part of what he said concerning some of what is being asked or requested of him by political parties.
Thank you for this opportunity to assure Nigerians that we will do whatever we can within the confines of the law to review issues arising from the conduct of elections, particularly by invoking our powers under Section 65 of the Electoral Act to review where review is absolutely necessary. So I want to thank you very much. We have so many states waiting in the queue, so we now recommence collation of results.
Well, that was before the initial commencement of the announcement of results earlier today. But there were others, several others, who protested following the narratives that they've heard from the PDP, the Labour Party, about what was requested of the Commission, their impression of what they think is going on. They might have gleaned it from wherever. Well, here are several people who voted, we imagine, who went to the ICC. That's where the National Collation Center is. And here they are protesting, asking almost the same thing by some of those political parties who don't want the chairman to continue.
We were told a process had been instituted for the elections. This process had been used previously. It had been used in elections in 3 states, 3 out-of-cycle elections. And we're told it was going to work for the presidential elections. What is the process? On election day, go to your polling unit. You get accredited using BVAS. You will cast your ballot. After you cast your ballot, election results will be counted and will be transmitted directly from the polling unit to a central server. Right? That is not what is happening. We are now seeing manually collated results being announced as the results of the presidential election. This is not what we were promised. We were promised that all the results from the 176,000 polling units across the country will be uploaded onto INEC server and will be displayed online real time, and that everybody will be able to access these results. Today is Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. This election was conducted on Saturday. After 4 days, we have not seen the results being uploaded onto INEC server. Instead, INEC is already announcing results. And the results that INEC is announcing are at variance with what was collated, what we saw at the polling units. What we are saying is, INEC, there was a process you promised the Nigerian people. There was a process the Nigerian people paid for. The Nigerian people paid for it to the tune of more than 300 billion naira. Follow the process. Simple.
Well, that is one of the spokespersons in the PDP's PCC, Lemona. But we are now being joined by Bulama Bukati, who is a security analyst and IRED analyst as well. He joins us virtually. Glad to have you join us again today. Now, yes, as expected, you also have been following all of this commentary, making the rounds from different quarters who are asking different things of the Commission, of course, defending their turf, digging their heels in on whatever it is that they believe. But several other people think that these may have security concerns or implications, as it were, because you never know who could act on what. So, should we be worried about anything that has been said so far?
No, thank you very much for having me. And you are right that I have been keenly following, and I'm sure all Nigerians in diaspora all over the world have been following keenly the proceedings of this election. I started following it when I was in Kampala on Saturday when voting started, and I can tell you the most grueling a few hours of my recent life was the few hours I spent on the flight back to London, because I couldn't see any updates. I, like many other Nigerians, do not have any personal stake in the elections, but everything at stake because our country is at stake. Perhaps the most momentous moment in every country's life cycle, but especially in Nigeria, are the 4 years when elections take place. And unfortunately, this particular election has come with technical glitches, especially technological glitches when it comes to the uploading of results as provided by the INEC manual or guidelines, which have not gone as smoothly as we should expect. But I think what we must all do those of us aggrieved and those who might be happy with what's going on right now in terms of the results, is for us to calm down and collect ourselves. I know this is not easy to do, especially in situations like this, but being strong is controlling oneself in a situation of extreme anger, collecting oneself and using our heads rather than our hearts to determine or to make demands. And I think some of the demands that have been made are reasonable. Some of them may not seem reasonable. But all in all, I am happy to see political parties making press conferences. Press conferences are not wrong. I am happy to see political parties airing their grievances in the collation hall like it happened yesterday. And I am happy to see people making demands rather than taking things into their hands, because taking things into our hands is what is going to take us to a no return point, which none of us would want to see. I know tensions are continuing to escalate. We know there have been incidents of violence reported here and there, but so far, so good when it comes to physical violence. And I hope and pray and call on all parties involved to continue to ventilate their grievances civilly, whether through the media or through the courts or whatever processes they want to follow. But everybody should make sure that no one takes up arms or does anything that will jeopardize the peace and security of this country. And I think in particular, leaders of political parties, religious leaders, traditional rulers, and other influencers must continue to add their voice to this important call of maintaining peace and calm as we ventilate our grievances and go through this tumultuous process.
You know, the thing about this is that there are yet many layers that we need to go through. This process is ongoing. The final results have not been announced by the Commission, and they will not even have the second round of elections, the governorship elections. So it will have implications, whatever happens in this first round when it's concluded. Now, when the results are announced, we don't know the kind of reactions that we will get. But just as you suggested, it's important for people to understand that they get themselves back. But how would you suggest security agencies go about all of this, especially when people always have this impression of this us against them kind of scenario with security agencies? Can they ever think that, okay, well, security agencies are here or wherever they are to do what is required of them by law, and then that they're not doing the bidding of another party, I mean, another agency or another group against maybe some other persons who are aggrieved, because that's also important for people to manage that scenario?
Yeah, I mean, this is a fundamental question, the role of security agencies. And of course, our security and law enforcement agencies have a big role to play in keeping calm and maintaining peace and order throughout the country. And I think the first thing for our security agencies to do, or to continue to do, is to continue to be professional and fair to all parties. I can say from what we have seen generally so far, our security and law enforcement agencies have not taken side, in the sense of, I mean, in past elections, we had seen where police officers, for example, were alleged to have been used to cast votes, I mean, stuff ballots, boxes with votes that are illegal. We had seen examples of where security officers were used against opponents. I cannot say we have seen report or widespread reports of those in this particular elections. And I think that's commendable. And I call on the Nigeria Police Force, the military that is deployed to for election monitoring, and other security and law enforcement and intelligence agencies to continue to do their work professionally. The second thing is for them to keep calm by being civil, by carrying Nigerians alone, not by using force or by using arms. Because most at times, use of force or arms, especially unreasonable or disproportionate use of force or arms, may lead to a counterproductive results. And therefore, I think continuing to use civil ways, bringing the community along, using police or military society or community relationship is important. And also, number 3, prevention, ensuring that, things do not get out of control in the first place. And the way to do that is to continue their process of stop and search during election, to disarm any persons or groups with arms, and to ensure that every single Nigerian continues to obey the law and maintain order. This is very important. And your point around the next round of elections is fundamental, because we have seen, like I said, isolated incidents of violence in this election, and some of those alleged to have perpetrated them have been arrested, but some have not been arrested. And not arresting and prosecuting offenders sends the wrong message. It sends a signal that impunity is allowed and that people can break the law. And if that happens in these particular rounds of elections, then in the next rounds of elections, politicians will get, unscrupulous politicians will get even more desperate and try to do, things that violate the law. Have lost this round of election are going to get more desperate. Those who have won this round of elections are going to get more enthusiastic to win the next election. And you know, when we went into the presidential election, things were very, very much elections in areas where they did not do well in these elections.
Okay, Mr. Bugatti. If I may interrupt you here, Mr. Bugatti, since we're talking about the next round of elections, let's look at the position of the umpire here and against what the political parties have alleged that INEC has done, gone contrary to its own guidelines, which were drawn from the Electoral Act, drawn from the Constitution. And you being a lawyer, what do you think INEC should be doing? I mean, you heard the INEC chairman say, according to Section 65 of the Electoral Act, well, there will be a review where it is necessary. But the political parties have said, hey, we don't like the fact that you're not keeping to the Electoral Act and even the guidelines that you provided. What should INEC be doing before the next round of elections?
Now, of course, it is for INEC to ensure that the law is followed or complied with or implemented in every stage of the process. Unfortunately, some of the calls to INEC that I have heard from political parties and from some elder statesmen is, calls that may not be in tandem with the law. For example, I have had calls that INEC should cancel the whole election, the presidential election that has held. And as far as I know, the INEC chairman and the commission do not have the power to cancel the whole election. The only situations in which elections can be cancelled are the ones contemplated under sections 47 and 51 of the Electoral Act. And those are situations in which elections could be cancelled at the polling unit. At the polling units, elections could be cancelled, one, if the machine malfunctions, like the Viva's machine refuses to accredit or work at all. And in that situation, the election might be cancelled, and the Act provides that another election should be slated for 24 hours from there. And also where there have been cases of overvoting, that's where the total number of accredited voters are more than the total number of votes, the total number of votes cast are more than the total number of accredited voters. In such a situation, the election could be cancelled at the polling unit or at the collation center, whether ward or local government, depending on the particular scenario we are talking about. But cancellation of elections is always at the polling unit level. If it is not cancelled at the polling unit level, it comes to the ward level. It will be scrutinized at the ward level. If there are situations contemplated by law for cancellation, they could be cancelled. But if not, if they went to the local government level, you cannot cancel the election of a whole local government for overvoting, because you can't say every single polling unit in that local government has overvoted. If that was the case, then you can cancel. The same thing happens at the national level. You cannot cancel the whole election because some polling units perhaps have been involved. Now, so the first point is that the INEC chairman and the commission do not have powers under the law to cancel elections. The president, President Obasanjo, former President Obasanjo, had called or has called on President Buhari to cancel the election. That would have been a rape, daylight rape on democracy. President Buhari does not have power to interfere with the elections as or any of the processes of elections as they are going on. Who can cancel elections? It is the courts. The courts can cancel elections, but that can only happen after the process has been concluded. Of course, as you said, INEC can, under Section 65 of the Act, review results or declarations, and where it is, satisfied in law that, number one, either that the declaration was not done voluntarily, for example, where a presiding officer declares results, for example, at gunpoint, or where the provisions of the Act and the electoral guidelines have not been followed. Now, INEC can review results in those situations, but even in those situations, the INEC cannot say we have cancelled the whole of Nigeria. They have to be specific, say so and so unit have committed so and so wrong, and therefore this has substantially affected the results of the elections and therefore would be cancelled. Minus this scenario, they cannot cancel elections just like we see the course now. For example, now we are talking about electronic transmission of results. If you look at the Electoral Act did not provide for electronic transmission of results. No, it was the election guidelines, the electoral guidelines made by INEC pursuant to the Electoral Act. And I am not saying that does not have the force of law. It does have the force of law. But the law is that where the Electoral Act or election guidelines have been violated, it has to be substantial violation of the Electoral Act. And that's why I loved the call by the PDP, LP, and other parties yesterday when they said, upload the results. They did not call for cancellation at that time. They said upload the results, because the appropriate thing to do is that if the results have not been uploaded from polling units, then you upload them. The law does not allow you to cancel results because they have not been uploaded on the server.
All right, so we're democracy, and a plethora of opinions. Earlier, we saw some persons who were protesting against the position of the chairman of the commission. Guess what? Well, there's another group who turned up saying, no, we think that the chairman of INEC is doing the right thing. Look at them. They say, well, Mr. Chairman of INEC, go on with how you are carrying on with the affairs of announcing the results and running the commission at this point in time. So this is what we get to see these days. So I know that many will make of it what you will. Okay, so there you go. And then that wasn't all that happened today. Now, guess what? There's this group, I think it's the West African Elders Forum. You have the former president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama. You have former president of Nigeria, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. They have also been acting And speaking as well, there's a statement that was put up by this group, and it says the West Africa Elders Forum Election Mission to Nigeria 2023 wishes to commend Nigerians for the resilience and patriotism displayed during the presidential and National Assembly election, which held on Saturday, February 25th, 2023. In December 2022, we deployed a pre-election mediation mission led by former Sierra Leonean President, His Excellency Ernest Bai Koroma, to interface with key stakeholders. Our election mission, led by former Ghana President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, which has been in the country since last week, witnessed Election Day proceedings on February 25, 2023, and has continued to observe the unfolding development since collation process began. Other members of the mission include former Benin President, His Excellency Ebonyi, former Nigerian President, His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, former Vice President of the Gambia, Her Excellency Fatoumata Jallow Tambayan, former Burkinabe Prime Minister, and President of the Economic Community of West African States, His Excellency Kadre Odrago, and former Deputy Chair of the African Union, Dr. Erastus Mwencha. The mission noted how Nigerians across the country demonstrated faith and patriotism in their country, defying many challenges to perform their civic duties. While the elections were peaceful in a number of places, challenges of delay in arrival of electoral materials, voter suppression, ballot box vandalization, and incidents of violence in some states created anxiety among citizens who were passionate to cast their ballots. We commend Nigerians for the calmness, patience, and maturity they have continued to exhibit as they wait for the collation process to be concluded. The mission notes that some political parties and concerned citizens have raised procedural questions and allegations of infractions of the electoral law in the process of collation of results. We call on all aggrieved parties to document and present their claims to INEC in accordance with the Electoral Act 2022. The mission notes the imperative of retaining the confidence of Nigerians in the ongoing electoral process and therefore urges the Independent National Electoral Commission, that's INEC, to thoroughly investigate those concerns and comply with the electoral law and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the process of collating the election results. We reiterate that Nigeria is a major stakeholder in the sustainability of democracy in West Africa, and the responsibility of maintaining the nation's thriving democracy and the general peace of our sub-region rests on all our shoulders, especially on the integrity of INEC and other election management bodies in West Africa during elections. We therefore urge INEC to live up to its responsibility of delivering free, fair, and credible elections in accordance with the nation's laws. WAEF urges political parties, candidates, and their supporters to remain calm and peaceful while awaiting the final outcome of the electoral process. As former leaders who are committed to peace and stability in our sub-region, we have begun a round of consultations with some of the presidential candidates and other key stakeholders, taking to them our message of hope, understanding, and peace. So far, WAEF have held meetings with some of the presidential candidates, including the presidential candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party, Dr. Rabiu Kwankwaso, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, in Abuja. This afternoon, we also held consultations with the All Progressives Congress candidate, Senator Bola Tinubu, and the Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, in an expanded meeting that included the heads of missions of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the African Union, His Excellency Ernest Bai Koroma, and His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, respectively, as well as the President of the ECOWAS Commission, His Excellency Dr. Omar Ali Toure. We have continued in all of these meetings to urge the candidates and their supporters to maintain peace and use all available to sort out their concerns and grievances. We hope to sustain this mission until the electoral process are successfully concluded. We therefore urge everyone to be circumspect in their actions and responsibilities during this moment in order not to jeopardize the collective stability and peace of the nation. Signed, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana from 2012 to 2017 and head of WAEF mission to Nigeria's 2023, as well as His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria from 2010 to 2015 as the convener of WAEF. Mr. Bukati. We'll come to you in just a moment after we return from this break. Stay with us.
Become your best self with new and exciting data plans from 9mobile. Visit www.9mobile.com.ng or any of our 9mobile Experience Center.
9mobile. Here for you. Here for Naija.
This our landlord and his wife happy fight for Africa, Sha. Chai. No mind the man. With that in nose like our Market Square Junction. Hey, whoa.
Una don't start this now gossiping again, Abi. Okay. Una met there at Akamata Community Square. They sell their votes to politicians for cool 5K. Una sit down here, the mumu una safe. It's all right.
Omo, make we sef go collect our own cash. Collect waiting. God forbid. So you want to sell the next 4 years of your life for 5K, Abi? Well done. You sabi say, this 5K, now 4 naira per day. For the next 4 years, make una get sense now. Haba.
Na nonsense una dey talk. Make month end rich, make una no pay me my rent. Na that time una go see fire.
Make una no dey listen to people like this landlord. Election no be business. Na your civic duty to your country to help elect the correct leaders them. We go fit create better life for us and no go get future for our children. Make you no sell your vote. Cause if you sell your vote, na your future you don't sell be that. This message now from the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the MacArthur Foundation.
Since 2016, Horizon Estates has delivered quality homes in and around Lekki Phase 1. We've built a reputation of creating a fine balance of affordability, prime locations, and world-class quality. Horizon Estates has delivered thousands of homes at pocket-friendly prices, and today, an opportunity to own one has come knocking on your door. You can own a 3-bedroom apartment in Lekki Phase 1 with a 79.99 million naira outright payment, or a 2-bedroom apartment opposite Lekki Phase 1 at 35.
In Africa, in Nigeria in particular, largest democracy.
Well, I would say, journalists across the continent face similar concerns. Chief among them, impunity. The lack of accountability when journalists are attacked by private citizens or by agents of the state. What really the press freedom community and media at large have been calling for is for those responsible for those attacks to be held accountable. And so really across the continent, but really across the world, this is not just an African issue. When journalists are attacked, there is, by and large, impunity.
Well, Jonathan, I want to thank you exceedingly for coming in and talking to us. Very interesting talking to you, and we support what you're doing and congratulate you on the work that you're doing. Jonathan Rosen is a senior researcher at the Committee to Protect Journalists. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Let's go on a quick break, shall we? Yes.
Yeah, why not?
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
As a player, there's nothing better than the roar of your crowd. But in Nigeria, there's a roar that may not be heard again. With fewer than 50 lions left, they could be extinct in the next few years, from loss of habitat and prey, and snares set for illegal bushmeat. So please, say no to illegal bushmeat. Let's keep the roar alive for Nigeria, because poaching steals from us all.
I'm about to serve better breakfast.
If you're in Lagos, you need to see this.
I'm not just streaming things, I'm just escaping traffic.
23 verdict. Mr. Bulama Bukati, we just read a moment ago the statement put out by the West African Elders Forum, signed by former president of Ghana and Nigeria, having visited the presidential candidates, trying to see how they could calm frayed nerves. What kind of impact do you think these sort of visits usually have on these kind of scenarios?
I think these are very important visits because every candidate or any candidate that sees the kind of leaders you listed that visited them, they would remember that the whole world is watching them and that our country is at stake and that no single individual's ambitions is above our country's interests and the peace and order of Nigeria. And so the visit of these presidents is a personal contact that I am sure is going to touch the minds of those who are aggrieved, but also to be gracious in defeat, but also touch the mind of whoever will emerge victorious to be magnanimous in victory. Because what Nigeria needs now for whoever wins the election is to bring this country together. We are unfortunately polarized more than ever before. We are so divided, tensions are so high, and unfortunately this would continue after the results have been declared. And therefore the first job of any administration or any of the candidates that might end up winning the election is for him to declare first and foremost that in this process there is no victor, no vanquish. For him to be magnanimous in victory and bring together a government of national unity, which I would love to see. I mean, which will bring people from different parties, different parts of the country, different religious groups, different tribes, so that there would be inclusive government in the real sense of the word. So I think the visit by these leaders is important, and I hope the candidates involved will heed to the advice, pieces of advice offered by the leaders that visited them.
What do you, let me even, I'd like you to speak a little further on that perspective which you just spoke about, government of national unity. Now, could it be, this is something that we've also tried to look at several times in several discussions we have with different guests, including politicians themselves, this zero-sum nature of our politics. Quite a number of people think that, look, if, for instance, a winner doesn't take all, and other people know that, okay, I think I might have something for all my efforts, they might not be fighting as though they've lost everything, and that may have some sort of impact on how we manage post-election issues. Do you think they have a point with this kind of narratives?
Absolutely. They have an absolute point there. If everybody knows that at the end of the day, even if I don't emerge the overall winner, I am going to get something out of the process, it would have been a completely different situation. Our politics has become do or die, unfortunately, over the years, because the winner takes it all. Not only that the winner takes it all, in Nigeria, we do have this habit of conflating being in position of authority and being the owner of the resources of the state. Nigerians, unfortunately, think the governor owns the resources of his state, or the president owns the resources of the government of the federation. Not only that, we have seen nepotism playing a big role in governments, where people get into power and then they only appoint people who are from their ethnic groups, or people who are from their region of the country, or people of the same religious faith. All of these have combined to show or to send a wrong message to politicians that if you don't win, then you are dead for the next 4 years. You would continue to be poor and out of government and without any influence. And especially, the third layer I would add is where you have ruling parties hunting political opponents, hunting them down either using the police and the security agencies or using other means to weaken them or even to kill them. I think these have unfortunately led to the complication or added to the complications we see in our country. And that's why whoever becomes the winner first has to be gracious in victory, magnanimous in victory. Number one, not to gloat over the defeat of others, not to be too pompous, for them to celebrate, but to celebrate sensibly and to not inflame anger by celebrating in a way that will anger the other party. Number three, for them to declare publicly that, look, I contested as the candidate of a particular political party. I am a particular ethnic group. I am from this region of Nigeria. But today I have been elected your president, and I am going to be the president of the whole of Nigeria, not of my ethnic group, not of my political party, not of my religion, but the president of the whole of Nigeria. And declaration is important, but action speaks louder than the voice. And therefore, we shall see a government, or we should see a government that will bring all the shades and colors of Nigeria together and build a system that each and every group in Nigeria will feel represented in and included in.
Let me come to our guests who are still with us here in the studio. I was following very closely as my colleague was running out of breath reading that statement from the West African Elders Forum, as I'm sure you were also reading as well, following as well. And one of the things that jumped out at me is the reference to how other African countries are closely monitoring what is happening in Nigeria and hoping that Nigeria can set an example. How big is the weight that Nigeria carries in terms of the success of this current democratic process going on right now in the country? Let me ask you first, Sheikh Limu.
I think when we see representatives coming from much bigger countries and nations, it tells us how important it is. When we see others coming from our neighboring countries, and we had ECOWAS, we had the African Union, like everybody seems to have a stake in this. It is important that we succeed. I think we should understand that our politicians also serve as role models. But I think what is beautiful about what these heads of states and former heads of states have done, as underscored by Bulama Bukarti, is to come to those who are aspiring. Because most of these presidents, they didn't just try once and succeed. Even our current president has tried a number of times. The PDP candidate has tried a number of times. So it's not one where it's a do-or-die type of thing. And I think what we get is this empathy that other presidents recognize that this is going to be a difficult time, to come and have that safety net, to come and have that human touch, that people who have gone through this are coming to empathize and make it easy for you to put your ego by the door and do what is in the best interest of Nigeria. And what we find, again, this is a very human thing. When somebody is bereaved, the most competent person to empathize and help them is somebody who has also been bereaved. In other words, having gone through that pain gives you an additional qualification to come and tell somebody it'll be okay. And so I think what they're doing is great, and what I think we need to do is to see more of that. And, you know, it allows that experience to make it easier for us to prevent things from going bad. And I should say, again, along the same lines as Mr. Bukarti, we don't want to see what would happen if what we are looking at is things going bad. When violence breaks out, it's like a bomb. It just happens in a few seconds and somebody's dead. And there's a retaliation and another person's dead. And by the time security come in, like, it's horrible, it's ugly. And so what we would want to see is prevention better than cure. To see how these former presidents, how those who are aspiring can actually act now, not when things have turned the wrong corner.
I'm looking at also the statement, which it doesn't also leave INEC out of it. Much as they are meeting with the candidates in these elections, they are also meeting or talking to INEC as saying that we reiterate that Nigeria is a major stakeholder in the sustainability of democracy in West Africa, and the responsibility of maintaining the nation's thriving democracy and the general peace of our sub-region rests on all our shoulders, especially on the integrity of INEC and other election management bodies in West Africa during elections. We therefore urge INEC to live up to its responsibility of delivering free, fair and credible elections in accordance with the nation's laws. So INEC is also still being called on here to deliver free, fair and credible elections. In your own estimation, what is left of the process right now, the elections have already been conducted. It is the results that are being declared. How can INEC still abide by what it is that the YF is asking of it?
Yeah, I think the point has always been made that election is a process, and we are still on with the counting. And the extent to which INEC conducts itself in completing this process of the announcement of the results up to its declaration will, in a way, instill confidence or reinstill confidence on INEC across the world. The election management institution is the primary pivot upon which any democracy is standing. And when you have questionable institutions, automatically that democracy becomes questionable. And INEC should not allow itself, or should not on its own, take us on the path where our democracy is questioned. And I think that's what the West African Leaders Forum seeks to do. It's made up of individuals with a history of losing elections. Almost all of them
have lost elections.
So they have that common
and how they handled it also is important.
How you handle loss.
They also consider defeat.
Yeah. It's very important. And I think when politicians go into elections, they need to ask themselves, how am I going to manage success? How am I going to manage defeat? Because either way, one must happen. But when election becomes do or die, you think if I don't win, automatically nothing will go. Then you get yourself boxed into a corner where you begin to resort to all manner of extrajudicial means.
Yeah, and the way both of them handled it was quite historic in many ways and on many fronts, because, I mean, it was almost like run against the mill, where lots of people kept on wondering, do something about your loss. Are you just going to sit back and watch this thing? So they went against what was the norm for a lot of people. So I know.
Just to quickly say, there are two sides to this.
Okay.
The first is, how do I manage success? And the foundation for this was laid by the late Musa Yar'Adua. He did three things. The first, he recognized that the process that brought him was flawed, and he set up the Justice Uwais Committee on Electoral Reform. The second he did was to say, okay, inclusion is very key. How do I manage inclusion? He also brought in the idea of a government of national unity, appointing some individuals from the parties that contested with him into his government. And the third was, I came into power with a section of the country not feeling as though they are part of the country, the South-South. And the amnesty program was introduced. Now, these three key pillars laid a very solid foundation for reconciliation. And today, Yar'Adua is no more, but he is being celebrated as a leader with a vision that was focused on how to bring the country together and set it on the path of reconciliation.
And I think the politicians and leaders, not just here, but across the continent, they also need to think what kind of legacy do they want to leave behind when they do what they do. But in conclusion, gentlemen, I will ask you this, and if you could keep it as short as possible, we'll appreciate it. Since both of you have a thing with CSOs, I'd like to find out how CSOs, that circle, how they perceive what's going on. Did they meet up with the expectations or no?
I think for civil society organizations of the various shades, this is a concern. They are what you may call another counterbalance when it comes to transparency, to ensure that if others are not trusted, that they are trusted. If others are, believed to be compromised, they are not compromised. And I think the more of them we have, the more difficult it is to question all of them. So when it comes to all the press statements they've made, I think they've all expressed their dissatisfaction with a lot of specific issues in the election from the beginning, behavior of both INEC, but also the behavior of communities, thugs, parties, all sorts of things. So again, it's not perfect, but we must make progress. We must learn from whatever mistakes are in this black box. We would call this election of 2023, and try and see how Dr. Chris Kwaja said, from the lessons of late Yar'Adua, what would be the lessons we pick that could be a lasting legacy to improve the democracy and peace of Nigeria?
Yeah. I think, for me, the biggest lesson for civil society on this election was we expected INEC to be more proactive when it comes to communicating with citizens about why or the challenges it encountered with the beavers and why there were delays in that, in transmitting those results. If that was done, I think the way the polity is heated, wouldn't have experienced that. And going forward, this is something that INEC should also take into consideration. Right. That communication is very important. It is not when fire is on that you begin to speak. You need to be very proactive, speak early, ensure that the message gets down to the people that have given you the mandate to manage this election. All right, gentlemen, we have to thank both of you. Interestingly, we have to make progress. We cannot afford to dig our heels in, essentially meaning that all parties have got to concede something for us to move forward. I think that's part of the central to the messaging that Sheikh Nuruddin Lemu of Yaga Africa Working Group and Dr. Chris Kwaja, watching the vote, have since let us know today. What you see there are live images coming through from the National Collation Center. We're expecting them to resume their suppose. They said they were going to reconvene by 9, but as you see there, I'm not sure the lights have come on as of yet, but they've got more states. I think altogether they've got 8 states left. So he did say that 1 was in there, 3 others were on their way, but I wonder what happens to, or what will happen to all the others, because now we're expecting to breast the tape when? Tonight? I'm not sure. But we will go to a break. Gentlemen, we do thank both of you for coming on. All the best. Very much. We will be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the 2023 verdict. Now, let's get to your world, those on social media, and see what is happening there, where we'll have this also put together. Have a look.
Hello and welcome to the social media segment on the 2023 verdict on Channels Television. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Well, with so many things happening at the same time, some calling for calm, others not having any of that, we're here to bring you up to speed on all of these. So this is a segment where we get to bring you some of the things you send to us on our social media platforms. So let's begin this segment on a peaceful note with this tweet coming from @Alakowi, who says, "There are still good eggs in politics. Al Makura lost the election but went ahead to congratulate his opponent who won." Yes, and that's the video there. Well, while some believe INEC disappointed them throughout the whole process of election, some others believe that despite the technical issues, there's an improvement in the dynamics of Nigeria's electoral process. And these two messages represent both sides of the divide. And this is coming from @King Inspires. Ongoing protest in Abuja, people chanting INEC must use BVAS. And that's the protest that happened earlier in Abuja. And this one is coming from Adebukola Adebayo, who believes that there's an improvement, says notwithstanding the few cases of malpractices across the country, I think the February 25th, 2023 elections is showing some appreciable improvements in the dynamics of Nigeria's electoral process. From the result released so far, we can see a number of upsets, with incumbents losing their traditional and long-held strongholds. Now, this shows the possibilities of manipulation either by INEC or ruling parties have been reducing, while the verdict of the citizens are now becoming more prominent. All right, next we check out what's trending. Well, hashtag election result 2023 has been on top since results started trickling in. Hashtag BVAS and hashtag IREV have also been trending. So let's see some of the comments under those hashtags. This is coming from Paul Ipele. He says, I wish to call your attention to some inconsistencies with the results uploaded on the IREV portal, especially with LMA local government area of Rivers State. Most of the results uploaded on the LGA are from Sokoto State. Well, we have seen complaints and comments like these on social media, and we hope that INEC fixes some of these challenges that people are talking about. And this is coming from Mr. Macaroni. He says, Dear INEC Nigeria, Nigerians stayed up to defend their votes and also ensure the results are uploaded. The entire point of IREV is to ensure the results at the polling units are electronically transmitted and that they tally with the results presented. And he says, no rigging. And this is coming from Olafamuyiwa outside our shores. It says that it is very sad as I watch the Nigeria election results, you realize a simple confusion. The only mistake made by INEC was the promise that results will be out in 24 to 48 hours. He says that even in the Western world where he is, based in the United States, election results might be fully completed for about 1 week. Another trending hashtag is hashtag FCT 25%. Now, a lot of reactions have been trailing this. People talking about the section of the law that speaks to the fact that winners must win 25% in 24 states out of 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. Let's check out a tweet under that. This is coming from Mr. Odens. FCT results have been called. The PDP and APC have failed to get the 25% needed in the FCT legal heads. What does this mean for the outcome of the election? Well, we're sure that will be sorted and we'll cross that bridge when we get there, if there's need to. Well, talking about using technology and the future playing a big role in making things easier, we got this tweet from Damola, who sent this from Estonia. The tweet says that BVAS, CVAS, DVAS can't relate. There is no ballot box to steal over here. Vote from anywhere in the world, including the embassies. It's talking about the Estonia election. Today is the first voting day for the Estonian parliament, and already over 40,000 people have cast their votes online, including the e-Estonia team in Barcelona and Tallinn. Estonia is the first country in the world to implement the e-voting in the nationwide election since 2005. Well, we hope to get there also very soon. But in this last part, let's remind ourselves of the hope and the faith we have in our nation. With this tweet coming from @LexTefLondon, it says, "Dear Nigerian youth, we are all we have, and we will defend our land no matter how difficult it gets. Do not lose faith. Our hope will be restored." And I love the song attached to that tweet, which had some great words to remind us of the importance of unity and togetherness. Let's listen.
Here we stand as a people with one song, with one voice. We're a nation undivided and poised. We will take us down and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. As a people with one heart, for one cause, we're determined to rebuild and restore. Where freedom reigns and truth prevails, our land where there's hope for us all.
Well, on that beautiful note, we end the program. But just before we go, don't forget you can still send in your pictures, your videos, or your thoughts through our social media handles. This is how you send it. Channels TV Forum, that will be for social media and Facebook, and at Channels TV for our Twitter users. Don't forget, while you send this, use the hashtag 2023 verdict. You can also send us an email on 2023verdict@channelstv.com. Thank you very much. Please keep those pictures and videos coming, and of course your comments about the 2023 election. And that's it on the social media segment of the 2023 verdict. I'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu.
You're back to the 2023 verdict. Our election studios are continuing coverage of the elections, and we're still keeping our eye on the National Collation Center. We're waiting, keeping tabs concerning when they will resume collation and announcement, I beg your pardon, of those results. So that is what we expect. They were supposed to reconvene by 9, as the chairman did tell us, but that is yet to happen. In the meantime, we've got Jide Ojo back here in the studios. He's our election analyst and ERAD analyst as well. Good to see you again today.
My pleasure. Good evening.
Well, this is taking a different shape, this map and the results that have been announced so far. But I mean, by now, the political parties, they already know what is going to happen where. So all of those pressers that they're having, how their supporters internalize them, I guess we'll wait to see what happens afterwards. But from the new results that have been announced and from what you've seen, what kind of trend are you picking up here?
Like you rightly mentioned, winners emerge, losers have also emerged. As I said yesterday in my closing thoughts here, I said what is happening at the National Collation Center is formalization, validation, authentication. All the key players in this game already have their own situation reports, CTREP. So they will know if they have lost, they know. And you can see from the trend, those who are kicking, calling for cancellation. You cannot be victorious in a contest and say that process should be aborted, should be terminated, that there should be a rerun, there should be, everything should be altered. So it tells you that they know
where things stand. However, it's a ritual, and if this does not happen, that means there has not been an election. Because it is in the nature and character of politicians to kick. In fact, I would not be surprised if all the other 17 political parties decide to go to court to challenge the outcome. Obasanjo himself, in a viral video, in an interview he granted many years ago, about 2010, said there is no perfect election and there is no election in Nigeria that is not disputed. It's on point on that count. And I'm surprised if he agrees, as at that time, that there is no election in Nigeria that is not disputed.
Yeah, but the problem right now is, do you think that INEC itself is the one who has set up the room for the type of disputes that we're seeing? Because the emphasis on the part of the political parties is a non-transmission of the results from the polling units via the IREV, which was the key promise that INEC made to not just political parties, but also to all Nigerians. So would you say that INEC is the one that has set up itself for this level of dispute?
I mean, I agree with you on that count. INEC obviously overpromised and under-delivered. And they deserve all the knocks, given the fact that, okay, taking it from the angle of commencement of polls, up until 2019, elections held from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. When they saw that they keep having the issue of late commencement, they decided to move from 8 a.m. to 8:30. In spite of that, we still saw widespread late commencement of polls. That warranted some, of course, scolding or bashing. The other thing, and I know this has also been brought to attention, that as of November last year, INEC chairman was promising that there was a fake news circulating about the commission not going to transmit the result, that it's a fake news, they are ready, they will do. Now, fast track. Festus Okoye Esquire issued a press statement last Sunday talking about the glitches and the challenges they had with uploading of this result. Some of us felt they delayed, the communication was delayed. Because I recall I was here, and we were unanimous in the view that INEC's silence was not golden. If you have issues that has impeded the performance of your duty, the entire global community was waiting with bated breath to know. In fact, many more people from outside of Nigeria were taking interest in this election than even citizens. And the only way they felt they could have authentic information about the state of play is if, because the IREF, you just need your email address, you create password, and then you are in. And you can download results and follow through with the development. Unfortunately, everybody was shocked that this didn't happen in the first 24 hours. And, of course, that gave room for insinuation. Was INEC trying to doctor results?
Even in 48 hours.
Even in 48 hours, I know. So INEC brought, when you bring an ant-infested firewood, you should entertain lizard. Definitely lizard will come. So INEC brought this upon itself because if on that election day, when they discovered that IREF was down or was being hacked or something fishy
or
was
there were
happening,
glitches, as they said.
There were glitches, giving them benefit of doubt about having glitches. They should have promptly communicated that to the public. They kept quiet, allowing the rumor mills to thrive. And so eventually, when that press statement was issued about night of Sunday, it was too little, too late, people felt it was an afterthought. And that's where the commission brought this opprobrium upon itself, allowing the opposition element to feel that, oh, they were. But when you look at, I mean, I'm not holding brief for INEC, but I felt, in fact, before they came out to say that there were glitches, I felt what the commission was trying to do was to do cross-checking before uploading the result. You know, in Osun governorship election, the majority decision, which I read, and which I commented upon in my column in The Punch the week after, there is a provision in Section 64 of the Electoral Act which gave room for review of the BVAS result in order to see whether there is discrepancy between what is on the BVAS in terms of accreditation and what is on the EC8A form. I thought maybe that's the process they were trying to do so that they don't get to upload a wrong result. But when the commission itself came out to say, oh, we are having some glitches, I felt they did not come out with that information early enough to douse tension. Tension was already very high with everybody. You know, ERA invested so much resources trying to, election result analysis dashboard, for those who do not know what ERA means. And I'm supposed to be part of that. And you know, yesterday, Chamberlain, we were saying ERA was eradicated or something. I think there was a joke around that. So here we are. What do? A lot of investment went into, because we wanted to give the rest of the world this high-tech, global, service that will make Nigerians' election to be a reference point. But we are all downcast. We keep checking IRF, no result. I think by the time I left here on Sunday, was it on Sunday night or Saturday morning, only about 7,000 have been uploaded.
Yes,
it's about over 100,000.
Well, today they have 115,000 plus. I think now it's about 116,000 plus results uploaded out of 176,000. Let me quickly come to Mr. Bukati, because I know he's still there with us, joining us from London via Zoom. I do not know if you have been monitoring what has been happening on the IREF platform, but looking at the fact that a number of Nigerians, the political parties that have raised their objections so far, have raised it based on this promise. Do you think that now that we're beginning to see that the IREF platform is being populated, is it too little, too late for you, or do you think that there is still room for salvation here?
I have been monitoring the IREG like many other Nigerians have been doing, and I completely agree with my brother that the INEC overpromised and under-delivered big time. When I signed up to the IREG and started to see very little, if anything, in the first day, I was like, maybe it's my phone, maybe it's my connection and all that, only then for me to start to hear complaints from everywhere. And it is good to see that the process has started functioning now. They have uploaded a substantial percentage of the results. Unfortunately, that should have been done yesterday or day before yesterday, because as at yesterday, the PDP, LP, and other agents at the Federal Collation Center, at the Presidential Collation Center, their demand was upload the results and project them in the big screen behind you so we can follow together with the two screens on the side. And so that was the demand yesterday. And of course, partly because it did not get uploaded and there was no promise of it being uploaded, they asked for a 24-hour period so that INEC will upload it. The INEC did not grant that. Then we saw an escalation of the demand. The goalpost shifted. They started saying there were irregularities in the voting. And then from there, it shifted again. And now what we hear is cancel the whole result. For me, as someone who does not have a personal stake in the elections, I think it is good that it is being uploaded now. it is late, but it is not too late as far as I am concerned, because the INEC will still allow, I mean, the electronic versions of the results will still allow political parties who have grievances to compare the results that are being announced by INEC and those that have been uploaded, plus those that have been given to their own polling agents, because each and every political party is supposed to have a copy of each result. They can triangulate the three to see if they match. If there is a mismatch, then they can use that to build their cases in court. So it is late, but not too late. It's good to see that it is functioning now. And I think INEC should learn a big lesson from here. In accounting, we say it is always better to underestimate the profit than to overestimate the profit. And I think INEC should understand that it is always better to underpromise and overdeliver than to overpromise and underdeliver in this kind of situation. And for political parties that are aggrieved, I think we should, call ourselves to order. What you demanded in the beginning was for these results to be uploaded. And I think what you should do with your teams now is to study these results and to see if they have been tampered with. If they have not been tampered with using pen or anything, if they were the results at the collation polling unit, then nobody should continue to call for the cancellation of the results, because we cannot afford another presidential election in the next few days or weeks or months. We spend, was it 300 billion or was it 40 billion naira? Everything in Nigeria came to a stop because of these elections, and we are calling for it to be cancelled. This is not responsible. We should be responsible Nigerians, and we should know that there will be another day, and we should try to live and fight on that other day.
Well, Mr. Jide Ojo did, make reference to the fact that quite a number of the political parties are already aware of their standing, maybe perhaps from their own situation rooms, and that usually what happens at the International Conference Center is a validation of what will happen. But if looking at the map, so far so good, which we'll come back to in just a moment while we're still keeping our eye on the National Collation Center. We'll take a break at this point, and we'll come back and, make the question that I was trying to ask Mr. Bukati. In just a moment, please stay with us.
All right, let's take a look at what we've got so far. How do they look on the map? The results that have been announced, you may have had several figures, but Sean is here to take us through how it does look on the electoral map. How is that shaping up, Sean?
All right, thank you, guys. It's good to have you back, Jide Ojo. So far, it's been a long day, and we're expecting that the International Conference Center, where the National Collation Center is, will come alive again at 9 p.m., but it's just about half hour above the time that has been stipulated. So let's look at what we're expecting. So look at what we've got today. As of today, this is our color for the map. You remember
the baby missing the crayon
it does look
marker.
like the crayon is really the guy is a lot of crayon, and look at what we've got. Interesting that the Labour Party, Edo, Delta, Lagos, Enugu, Anambra, Ebonyi, Imo, Abia, Cross River, FCT, Nasarawa, Plateau. That is how much the Labour Party is being able to hold its ground. But it is one color, lonely, and is in the mix of things, but he's gotten a hold of a state that is so powerful, and that is Kano State. 997,279 votes. There is no political party on this map that has been able to garner as much vote in one single state. And that is what Kano has given NNPP Robbie Kwonkwoso. And if you look at it, the APC had had his own, and Bola Tinubu had his own blue scattered across the map from Ogun to Oyo. Looks to me that much of the southwestern region of the country has been held by the APC candidate, Ogun, Ondo, Ekiti, Oyo, held by Bola Tinubu, and part of the north central, Kwara, Kogi, Niger, held by Bola Tinubu. Other parts of the north central, Nasarawa Plateau, held by the Labour Party, and parts of the northeast, which Atiku Abubakar and the PDP has held, Taraba, Adamawa, Gombe, Bauchi, Yobe. You've seen how much of that hold. But look, there is a traversing by Bola Tinubu. Look at how he's meandering through the map from the north central into the northwestern region of the country. Don't forget, Jide, you know they call it the vote bag, northwestern region of the country.
Exactly.
And so Bola Tinubu was able to meander and go right into Zamfara State, holding Zamfara State amidst the stronghold of Atiku Abubakar, who is holding Kebbi, Sokoto, Katsina, and Kaduna. Look, he is being able to make advantage of the KKK. Now Kaduna, Katsina, in the grip of Atiku Abubakar and Kebbi. But this is what we've got. Chamberlain, guys, this is what we've got as of this moment. Now, if you look at it,
but so can I quickly react to that map? Mm-hmm. Our viewers need to understand that this is just for coloration. Mm-hmm. You may not even have any of the state in your kitty in terms of an outright win and still win the presidency.
Absolutely.
Because the point that needs to be made is that when you look at provision of section 134, sub 1, A and B, says majority of valid vote cast and 25% in 2/3 of Nigeria. So, and one thing that stood in favor of Jagaban is that even where he lost in terms of statewide, I'm trying to get the right word to qualify, where he didn't win outright.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have the highest number in the state.
Exactly. It was a narrow, very narrow loss.
Like Lagos.
Like Lagos, where under 10,000, even in Sokoto, in Sokoto,
Kaduna,
when you look at in Kaduna, everywhere, it was just marginal.
It closed up the gap.
There wasn't any, beyond what Labour Party was able to do in Southeast, where it couldn't get even 25% in Anambra, in Enugu, and I don't know whether he got in Imo and Ebonyi. But the most important thing to note is that this is just for discussion purpose. You may win, like the case in Lagos. There are 20 local governments in Lagos. Did you know that Labour Party won less local government?
It won about 5 or 6.
And yet, the person that won majority of the local government came second. So I mean, that is the way it is.
Yeah, to prove your point, let's go to this. So this is how they're standing in terms of the actual number of votes that they've garnered so far. And you see that Bola Tinubu and the colors, of course, you can see how, they've gotten out of the 36 states and the figures. But look, this one on your left hand, look at this. So this is how these guys are holding the state in terms of the number of states that they hold, based on the amount of states, or the number of states that INEC has been able to announce so far.
Yeah.
Bola Tinubu, 10 states, Atiku, 12 states, Obi, 11 states, Rabi Kwankwaso, 1 state. But fundamentally, let's look back at this. Tinubu at the moment having 7 million, Atiku over 6 million, Peter Obi over 5 million, and NNPP, Kwankwaso, who's just one, like you said, 1 state is at over 1,482,676 votes altogether. So you can see how these guys are going and how they are moving. You look at it, and we discussed the other day how this is going to be balkanized, who is going to be affected by the Peter Obi incursion into Nigeria's political map, and this is what you've got. I'm not sure, and it's only in 2019 we saw Buhari and Atiku go neck and neck, in the number of votes that he garnered had opposed. But 7,984,962 votes, 6,262,798. That is what Atiku is taking, and he's got more states than Bola Tinubu.
But Azumi, and this is the joke of the century. If you watch the social media today, the parley that has existed between Labour Party and PDP since yesterday, people are saying this parley should have happened before the election. You are not parleying to address press conference, calling for cancellation. Look at the total votes of Labour and PDP alone will have given APC bloody nose. And there is no way. I think this analysis, we've done it before. Kwankwaso is from the PDP family. He moved out. Peter Obi from PDP family moved out. Atiku was left alone. But on top of that, the G5 governor still didn't support Atiku. If all these people had put their weight behind one of them, I'm not going to say behind Atiku or behind Peter Obi or Kwankwaso, if they had pulled their strengths together, there's no way APC could have won.
But Mr. Joe, if you look at how the map also came through, the results, Katsina, Buhari lost in that particular state.
That's the political upset.
El Rufai lost in that particular state.
Yes.
Lagos. Tinubu lost. Okowa lost his own state. So it was only a few of them, maybe Atiku, who delivered in his own state, and several, even Ebonyi. So several other states did not. But the strategy, that strategy which you spoke about, he was able to get, that's the APC, 25% in the states where he won.
That's it. So, the strategy that APC used going into this election that many people didn't advance their mind to, which is what, internet doesn't forget. Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo's tweet in November of 2022 is now being widely circulated, where he said, if I was Tinubu, I would give Peter Obi money to be head of a department in I'm paraphrasing, not exactly his word. But what he was saying is that every vote for Peter Obi is a vote for Tinubu, inversely, because Peter Obi is eating into the stronghold of PDP. And this is what we have seen. Traditionally, Southeast is home base of PDP. South-South, home base of PDP. And that's where Peter Obi has...
All right. Quickly, Jide, before we go into that, there was a debate, I know you guys have seen that debate about what happens, whether or not what the Section 134 of the Constitution says.
All right, Joe, look at your screen. The ICC is back. Your map is about to change again. Your map is about to change, everybody. So we'll have to quickly jump to the National Collation Center and see what they have.
Resume collation of presidential election results. I also want to especially welcome the president of the NBA, Yakubu Mekiao, SAN. Welcome, sir. Honorable Chairman, sir, you may kindly resume collation of the results. Thank you.
Do I have Cross River? And distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the resumption of collation of the results of the 2023 general election. A few more states have arrived, and they have been queued up for presentation. The first state is Cross River State. The resident electoral commissioner and the scope, please. Okay, resident electoral commissioner, introduce yourself, followed by the scope, and make your presentation.
Honorable Chairman, as this simple protocol a bit, my name is Professor Gabriel Urshimo Lebi Yomere. I am the resident electoral commissioner, Cross River State. And I'm Professor Akbofure Rimruke, Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Petroleum Resources, Efru, Delta State. I serve as scope for Cross River State.
Okay, please go ahead and make your presentation.
Okay, the number of registered voters in Cross River State stands at 1,766,466. 1,766,466. The number of accredited voters are 44880. 44880. The performance of the political parties. Party A, 425. 425. Party AA, 221. Party AA, 221. Party AAC, 406. 406. Party ADC, 2268. 2268. Party ADP 885. Party ADP 885. Party APC 130520. 130520. Party APGA Apuga 618. 618. Party APM 535. APM 535. Party APP 252. Party APP 252. Party BP. Party BP 414. 414. Party LP. Party LP 179 917. 179 917. Party NNPP 1644. 1644. Party NRM 371. NRM 371. PDP. Party PDP 95425. 95425. Party PRP 822. 822. Party SDP 290. 290. Party YPP 422. YPP 422. ZLP 1533. 1533. Total number of valid votes 416 968. Total number of valid votes 416 968. Rejected votes 24608. 24608. Total votes cast in Cross River State 441 576. 441 576.
Okay, thank you very much. Any places where elections were not held or otherwise cancelled?
Yes, we have some challenges in 4 registration areas. And within these 4 registration areas, we have 8 polling units affected. 175.
PVCs collected?
2675. 2675.
Reasons for the cancellation?
Overvoting.
Okay. Party agents, any comments? Any observation?
No observation, sir. No, party agents.
Okay, if you have no observations, please bring your results. The next state is Delta State. So go ahead, Reg, introduce yourself, followed by the scope.
I am Reverend Dr. Monday Udotom, the Resident Electoral Commissioner, INEC Delta State.
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Professor Onari Abraham Georgewell, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Port Harcourt. I am the State Collation Officer for the presidential election of 25th February 2023 in Delta State. The results for the presidential election held on 25th February 2023 in Delta State are as follows. Total number of registered voters: 3221 697. 3221 697. Total number of accredited voters: 667149. 667149. Total number of votes received by the presidential candidates of each of the political parties are as follows. Party A, 979. Party A, 979. Party AA, 229. AA, 229. Party AAC, 357. AAC, 357. Party ADC, 160. ADC, 160. Party ADP, 788.
Prof, please go back to ADC. And call the figures out. ADC.
ADC, that's what I said. ADC.
Read the figures.
I said ADC 160.
No, look at the figures again.
ADC. No, that is ADP. The next one is ADP.
No, okay. Start the presentation all over again.
Okay.
Beginning with the votes scored by the candidates.
Party A, 979. Party A, 979. Party AA, 229. Party AA, 229. Party AAC, 357. AAC, 357. Party ADC, 160.
Is it 160 or something else?
160.
160?
Yes.
That is not what we have on the spreadsheet. We have 1604, not 160. And you have 1 and comma and 6 and 0. So there can be comma. Something has to follow.
1604.
No, not because I said it. Check. There can be 1 and a comma and just 60. It's going to be without the comma, so it's 160. So check your figures carefully.
Yes, sir.
Are you seeing 160 something else or still 160?
It's 1604. It's 1604. It's an error.
Huh?
Yes, 1604.
Okay.
Yes. 1604. Party ADP 788. ADP 788. Party APC 90183. 90183. Party APGA 3746. Party APGA 3746. Party APM 1028. Party APM 1028. Party APP 493. Party APP 493. Party BP 1016. Party BP 1016. Party LP 341866. Party LP 341866. Party NNPP 3122. NNPP 3122. Party NRM 988. NRM 988. Party PDP 161600. PDP 161600. Party PRP 342. Party PRP 342. Party SDP 3071. SDP 3071. Party YPP 605. YPP 605. Party ZLP 3324. ZLP 3324. Total number of valid votes 615,341. Total number of valid votes 615,341. Rejected votes. Total number of rejected votes 39309. 39309. Total votes cast 654650. 654650. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Scope. Were there areas where elections did not hold?
Yes, sir.
Or cancelled?
Yes, sir. We have we have 11 ROAs that were affected in 2 local government areas, 11 ROAs. The number of polling units affected is 29. Registered voters affected in those PUs, 15701. Number of PVCs collected in the affected PUs is 13051. The reason is overvoting.
Okay, thank you very much. Party agents, any comments? Any question, any observations? Okay, thank you very much. Please step forward and submit the result and the report. Thank you very much. Thank you. The next state is Ebonyi, Ebonyi State. Rec Ebonyi State, introduce yourself, followed by the scope.
My name is Mrs. Onyeka Ugochi Pauline, the resident electoral commissioner, INEC Ebonyi State. Sitting here with me is...
My name is Professor Charles Arizechukwu Igwe, FAS, the Vice Chancellor, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. I am the State Collation Officer for Presidential Election Scope of 25 February 2023 in Ebonyi State. The results for the presidential election held on 25th February 2023 in Ebonyi State are as follows. Total number of registered voters, 1597646. 1597646. Total number of accredited voters, 337887. 337887. Total number of votes received by the presidential candidate of each of the political parties are as follows. Total number of valid votes, 325,351. 325,351. Total number of rejected votes, 11990. 11990. Total votes cast 337341. 337341.
Vice Chancellor, I think you are reading the column below rather than the spreadsheet. Before you go to the summary of votes cast, valid and invalid,
That's right, sir.
let us know the scores of the parties and candidates.
The total number of votes received by the presidential candidates of each of the political parties are as follows. Party A, 178. 178. Party AA, 248. 248. Party AAC, 264. 264. Party ADC, 477. 477. Party ADP, 327. Party APC, 42402. 42402. Party APGA, APGA, 4120. Party APM, 367. 367. Party APP, APP, 182. Party BP, BP, 342. Party LP, LP, 259738. 259738. Party NNPP, 1661. 1661. Party NRM, NRM, 187. Party PDP, 13503. 13503. Party PRP, PRP, 83. Party SDP, SDP, 150. Party YPP, 197. 197. Party ZLP, 925. 925. Again, total number of valid votes, 325, 351. 325, 351. Total number of rejected votes, 11990. Total votes cast, 337341.
Okay, thank you very much, Scope. Any incidents of cancellation?
Yes, we had one cancellation in one RA in one polling unit.
Registered voters in the PU?
Number of registered voters there is 968.
968. 68. PVCs collected?
937.
Reason for the cancellation?
Overvoting, sir.
Okay, party leaders, party agents, any comments? No comments? Okay. Scope, please bring your results and report. The next state is Anambra, Anambra State. Let's Rec Anambra introduce herself and the scope.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, other board members, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Queen Elizabeth Awu, Resident Electoral Commissioner for Anambra State.
Thank you, Queen Elizabeth. Scope?
My name, the Honorable Chairman, members of the High Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Professor Mrs. Nenna N. Oti, the Vice Chancellor of the University, of the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. I am the State Collation Officer for the presidential election scope of 25th February 2023 in Anambra State. Here with me is Dr. Queen Elizabeth Awu, the Resident Electoral Commissioner for Anambra State. The result for the presidential election held on 25th of February 2023 in Anambra State are as follows. Figures are as follows, and I go to my spreadsheet. There I have the total number of registered voters, 265,6437. 265,6437. Number of accredited voters, 628,590. Votes received by political parties. A, 343. AA, 108. AAC, 112. ADC, 208. ADP, 299. APC, 5111. APGA, 7388. APM, 325. APP, 148. BP, 514. LP, 584621. NNPP, 1967. NRM, 118, PDP 9036, PRP 62, SDP 84, YPP 1997, ZLP 1420. Total valid votes 613,861. Rejected votes 10751. Total votes cast 624,612. Thank you.
Thank you, Scope. Any incidents of cancellations or places where elections were not held?
Yes, sir. Election did not hold due to threats of violence in the Barrow LGA with 9 ROAs and 45 PUs. Thank you.
Registered voters?
Total number of registered voters in the affected areas, 25368.
PVCs collected?
25027.
25027. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Any comments, party leaders? Agents of parties, any comments? Okay, please step forward and submit your report. Collation Secretariat, any new arrivals? No new arrivals yet? Okay, we have 4 more states to go, and we are aware that they are on their way. So, Okay, it's now 22 minutes after 10. Let's reconvene at 11. We are confident that they will be here. Let's reconvene at 11. That is in the next 40 minutes. 40 short minutes, not 40 long minutes. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Sule Mohammed. You are asking us to come back at 11 o'clock. I just want you to note that throughout the time this venue has opened, not even water has been given to us. And I feel it is very sad. Yes. Do we have to go there and ask for water?
Okay.
It is inappropriate. Thank you.
Some people are surprised by what you said, but I take it that you are right. So, Secretariat, please make sure that you provide him not only water, but dinner as well. And not only him, but all others who are here. But I hope once these are provided, we have no problem resuming at 11. So thank you very much. Please provide him water and food.
All right, so they have proceeded on another break, after which,